Are tattoos sin? No. And here is biblical proof. Hello and welcome, beautiful. My name is Christabel. You are welcome to this channel. Here we are the new generation of Christians. We are spiritual. We are not religious. We tell it like Christ would. We don't tell it like religious people would. So the topic of today is, are tattoos spiritual? Like, we have seen this debate going on for years and years. And here is the answer. Tattoos are actually scriptural. So now let's examine scripture. So we're starting with Isaiah 49 verse 15 to 16. And it reads, "Never can a mother forget her nursing child. Can she feel no love for the child she has born? But even if that were possible, I would not forget you." 16. "See, I have written your name on the palms of my hands. Always in my hands is a picture of Jerusalem was in ruins." This scripture talks about the time that Jerusalem felt forsaken by God, and so they were complaining, God has forgotten us. And he was telling them to say, I can never forget you. Just like a child, a mother can never forget about her child, I wouldn't. I have tattooed your name or written your name in my hand. So that tells us that actually God is the #1 tattoo artist. Christians of today are so religious that they actually take scripture out of context. And for this, they've actually been using Leviticus 19 verse 28 to say tattoos are not scriptural, tattoos are not Christian. If you have a tattoo, you go to hell. No, God is the #1 tattoo artist. They use this scripture, Leviticus 19 verse 28, where he says, "You shall not make any markings in your body for the dead." He was actually talking to them about the time when they went into the land where the people had a culture of actually shaving off their heads, shaving off the sides of their heads when there's a funeral, when somebody dies, let's say a loved one dies, they would do that, and they would also make markings on their body as a symbol of what has happened, and which we have seen that in our African culture. Like, if you are an African, you have seen this happen. Like, let's say you lose a husband or a wife, you have to cut off all your hair, and they would have to make some tattoos on your body. So that's what he was against, because what people do not understand is that actually your blood is alive. Even every time there is a wound, there is actually a spiritual thing happening, because your blood is where Christ lives. Your blood has a DNA of God. Your blood has a God DNA. Look that up. It's going to be a long video if I have to explain that to you, but your blood has a God DNA. So now what happens is, if you continue making tattoos, if you make a tattoo, you open up yourself spiritually. Every time you have a cut, any sort of cutting, there's a spiritual thing happening. So that's what God didn't want. He didn't want them to be a part of those people. That's why Leviticus says that. Talking about tattoos and God, you also see this scripture, Revelation 19 verse 16, where it says, and this is talking about Christ, by the way, on his robe and on his thigh he has a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's Christ. He has a tattoo on his thigh saying King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So today I want you to make a decision. Today I want you to be informed. I don't want you to be afraid. I am not one of those people that will actually teach you like like the religious people do. They would teach you things out of context. They would create doctrines out of one scripture. As they have been speaking about tattoos, they've seen all these other scriptures, but they only hold to one scripture because that's what represents their values. Tell you what, you have to tell people the truth, so that as they make decisions, they make spiritual decisions, they make biblical decisions, not decisions that support what you don't have. Personally, I don't like tattoos. I have 0 tattoos on my skin, because for me, even just little hyperpigmentation, I do everything to get rid of it. I don't like pigment on my skin. I don't have a tattoo and I'll never have one. But am I going to demonize a person with tattoos? No, I am not, because that's not spiritual, that's not scriptural. Okay, so knowing this, you can go ahead and make your tattoo if you want to, but beware. Every time you do a tattoo, you're opening up yourself spiritually. And the reason why Christ has a tattoo on his thigh, it's for spiritual reasons. Okay, even God marking the names of his children in his hands is a spiritual symbol. Hence, the devil can also do that. So, believe me, everything you see in the world is just a replication of what is spiritual by God. The spiritual means of God, the devil usually replicates them to gain. So, you see, so every time you're making those tattoos, if you're not a spiritual person, actually, you're attracting demons. Yes, you are attracting devils. So you'd find that as you keep on making those tattoos, you even lose the reasons for the tattoos you're making. Every time I meet a person with a tattoo, I'm always intrigued, and I ask them, say, okay, so you have this tattoo, what does it mean? This one, does it mean? So you would find that they have meanings for their tattoos, but then you would note to say they are no longer the ones making the tattoos. It's the devil and the demons influencing them to make tattoos if they have no reason for the tattoo. You ask them, what does this tattoo mean? They will say, I have nothing. I just saw it and I thought of having it. Like, seriously. So now you'd find people, when they're now being influenced by the devil, understand that tattoos are a spiritual thing. That's why Christ has them. God has them in their hands, because they're spiritual. And believe me, for every spiritual thing, the devil is also going to use it against you. So now you'll find that the more you make tattoos, the more you actually invite demons into your life. They see that as an entry point. So now that's how you begin to see people making tattoos to make themselves look like demons. Then you'd ask yourself to say, all of us, as we are in this material world, we are doing everything to look good. But you find these people beginning to look like creatures. They tell you, no, I'm just obsessed with this creature, I want to look like it. What they don't know is that there's actually a spirit, a demon behind that, causing them to do that. And the more they make these tattoos, they now begin looking like a thing that's not earthly. What is that? The demon influencing them has now possessed them. And fun fact, if you're a Christian and you're born again, a demon can never possess you. It can only oppress you and influence you, but it can never possess you. But if you're not a believer, if you're not a Christian, a demon can actually possess you. And the more it's living within you, it wants you to become like it. Because you now become a vessel, it will start doing things that actually represent it. It wants you to start looking like it. That's how you now see people beginning to do things to their faces, changing themselves, beginning to look terrifying, beginning to look dark, beginning to look like demons. So sometimes I look at these people that have actually deformed themselves and they're looking like creatures, and I understand the demons are real and it's demons at work. So as you make the decision to get your tattoo, remember, if you have no reason for getting that tattoo, don't get it. Do not get it, because you'll just be opening a portal for the demon to come into your life and begin using you. Honestly, I love you so much. That's why I'm always telling you the truth. You can count on me, your sister, to tell you the truth. Tattoos are not demonic in themselves, but they open doors to demons. Tattoos are biblical. Christ has them, and God is a spirit. Christ is spiritual. So if they have them, you should know there's nothing wrong with them. God has no way. He has no capacity of sinning. So it's not a sin. But beware. Beware as you do these spiritual things. As you make tattoos, understand that you're opening yourself up spiritually. And if you're not in God, if you are not in God, you just find yourself housing a demon. Before you know it, you'll be looking like a demon. I will set someone. Oh my God. So I love you so much, and always be blessed. Remember that Christ is the way. God is the only way. The one and only true way. Stick by him. Even as you make those tattoos today, if you've always wanted to have a tattoo, as you go to make that tattoo, make that spiritual decision. Make this decision with the knowledge that having a tattoo may just open up a door, because demons are actually longing to have a physical reality. They are longing for whom to devour. They're looking for a house. You might just be that house, and before you know it, you paint it according to its favorite colors. And if you can find a creative tattoo, it gives you images of the things you want. Beware. I love you. Bye. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's grow this channel so that even the next person can actually benefit from this, and we push the work of God forward. Bye.